Bass using shade is not a new idea, but did you know there is more to it than simply finding the shade? What I've filmed firsthand over the years will help you be a more effective bass angler when it comes to understanding shade and how bass use it. The first factor that we have to consider, and what I feel is the most important, is that sometimes bass will position themselves so they are in the dark looking out into the light. Now, to fully appreciate this, think about the advantage this gives a predator. We experience this same situation all the time in our daily lives. We can easily see from a dark room into a well-lit room. When that situation is reversed, it is almost impossible to see the other way. Bass are extremely visual. This sitting in the dark is much more of a benefit than just getting out of the sun. Bass will seek out shade in all types of weather conditions and throughout the year. Now, as a bass angler, after observing this, it has completely changed how I first approach a strong shade producing piece of cover like a dock. Now, I always assume there's a bass under there facing out into the light. There may not be, but I want to assume that. I want to present a lure that takes advantage of that as my first choice. Swim bait, crankbait, swim jig, whatever. Something that is swimming in the bright light right where that shade edge is. And that is an excellent first cast. If possible, position yourself where that bait will run the edge as long as possible and then be ready. And then, of course, you can switch to other more pinpoint presentations. Now, there's a good chance that those bass positioned like that are more likely to be in a ready-to-eat mood than those that are just loafing farther back under the dock. Now, the second factor we need to take into consideration, and from what I have witnessed while filming, is that those mid-morning and mid-afternoon times when the shadows start to get long, be mindful of bass that are using the shade line that is much farther out than we may think. During those times of the day, I see bass traveling that shade line just like a hard edge, and it may be several feet away from something like a dock or a boat slip. We often make our first cast right to that physical object and not where that shade line is actually positioned. This changes all throughout the day, so make sure to keep that in mind and deliberately fish it, even though it may appear not to be the perfect target area. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised how many fish you find out there. Now, also keep in mind that objects under the water like wood and big weed beds also cast a shadow. A significant weed bed that has growth, vertical growth to it, can create a shade edge a few feet away from the actual bed itself. And hey, if you like these types of videos with bass behavior, go ahead and check out my bass behavior bundle. I've got 33 videos on there. The links are down below. Great way to support the channel. And if you want to watch a video that talks about what I think are the 3 best lures when bass just don't want to bite, go ahead and check this one out right here. And make sure that you go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.